What's going on? What's going on? It's getting crazy out here. We know this whole thing's been going on uh, with the whole Wilder situation and the fight. We've seen different things before that it pertains to Tyson Fury's gloves, and it seems as if more and more and more information keeps coming out. Um, One thing is weird to me is the fact that people have this thing where they're just gonna close their eyes as if they act as if Tyson Fury is someone that could just never cheat. Like this, why he could never cheat. Like this is someone who has a history of cheating. Christian Hammer fight, getting into the ring with a glove with the thumb detached, where they had made him change his gloves before he fought. This is a man who's been caught with substances in his system multiple times. Couldn't fight for 2 years basically because of PEDs that were in his system. You know what I mean? Not to mention the other things that he's on stimulants that he's also had in the system. So this is someone who has a history of that, and people keep, acting as if people are trying to reach or something like that. It's kind of like, you always see those stories where it's, there's a speculative, something happens with somebody. They supposedly do something. Like let's say supposedly did something to a female or whatever. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if they did that or not. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard of anything of that guy doing anything. But because of that accusation or that little thing that happened, people start to dig. Start to dig into your past, dig into your history. And all of a sudden you find this, and you find this person, and you find that person, you find this incident that happened, you find that incident that happened. Then it kind of like, oh, all of a sudden this particular situation starts to look completely different. You know what I mean? Kind of like even like a Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning with the HGH thing that they kind of just brushed off. This dude has HGH. Supposedly, oh, HGH is being brought to him from overseas, has it in his wife's name and everything. Then they give some BS reason like, oh, his wife was doing a fertility thing, this and that. Like, number one, why would she be going to a doctor? And why is she just getting this stuff being shipped to her overseas from overseas? Makes no sense. You know what I mean? It happened to be at the time where he was just, though, you have this crazy surgery and you come back and you just throwing the ball, just bang, bang, bang. Unfortunately, he ran to the Seattle Supersonics. The Seahawks. Who just smashed you out to pieces. But then they find this out, and all of a sudden, you can't throw a ball anymore. And your defense basically carries you to a championship the next year. But all of a sudden, you weren't the same player anymore. You know, but he had this clean image. So you just thinking to yourself, oh, what the, this guy has a clean image. Like, you know what I mean? Why would he do that? And you find out in his history about back in college, how he forcibly put his face on a his bare behind on a female. What's it called? One of the trainers. And then they try to, then him and his father try to basically get the coaches to say, oh, blame it on this one of the black players. It puts you into a position where if people want to dig, you can start digging into that man's history, probably find some other things, you know. But even someone like this is someone who has a history of doing this stuff. He has a history of doing grimy things, you know. And people need to also understand that when it comes to something like boxing, there's been over 100 years of boxing. People have seen all types of injuries, all different ways that people get hurt in the sport, everything like that. So they can tell, if it's an injury that is from, let's say just, gloves, or for something different, you know? Just like they can tell if somebody got punched in the face, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody took a hammer and smashed them in the face with it. It's different type of things happen to you. So when you see a man, he has this indentation in his head, basically like your skull or a piece of your cranium being crushed in, that's not normal. Obviously, it's going to raise questions. When you already have a history of cheating, and in the first fight, they're seeing that this glove they can see is off your hand. people are going to start digging further and digging more and digging more and digging more and digging more. So now when new pictures come out, and it's easy, I guess you can pull out the original pictures or pull out the original videos, slow it down if you want to, whatever, and look at it yourself from him walking in or whatever else that happens. Those type of things are going to happen. Those type of things start to come to light because, that spark has already been put there. So because that spark's been put there, people are looking. People are looking. Especially when it comes to different things like weird injuries. Like, how does his face doing that? How does his ear burst like that? How does his face like, especially when you're someone who's doesn't have power like that. Then all of a sudden now you have power like that. It's like, what's going on here? You know? Or damn, why is he getting that type of injury from that dude? Or getting that type of injury, period. Especially when you got a person like Dante Wilder who we know how hard he can punch. And even his punches aren't causing those type of injuries. And this is one of the hardest punches to ever punch in the game. You have to sit there and think. And people start to look and they start to dig and they start to dig and they start to dig. You know? And when certain things are being put up in front of people's faces, they just want to kind of let me just close my eyes to it, because at the end of the day, they got the result that they wanted, which was the man losing. They don't care how the man lost. They just know that he lost. They don't care. All they know is that he lost. Just like with the Maidana situation. If Maidana had did that, had gotten away with, rocking the gloves, he wanted to went to that ring and did all kinds of crazy stuff to Floyd, no one would have cared. They'd just been like, oh, he's making excuses, blah, blah, he just lost, blah, blah. That's just what it would have been. No one would care because they got the result that they wanted. And that would have been it. So when it comes to him, that's what the case is. Doesn't matter what comes out, what is seen, they're not going to care because they got the result that they wanted. And as far as the whole, oh, well, the commission looked at it, this person looked at it, this or it couldn't happen. It's the most asinine and the most idiotic thing I'm hearing people say, just due to the fact that through all these years of boxing, we know commissioners have looked at stuff, trainers have looked at stuff, and people still got into rings and with illegal things, with illegal gloves, and done illegal things. Margarito got away with his, plaster stuff for how long? The commission was right there. The commission was looking at everything. What stopped that was Prince Nassid looking at not Prince Nassid, Priest, whatever the hell's name is. I'm tired as hell right now. But, we see Muhammad grab. He goes and he grabs the gloves. Richardson, he grabs the gloves, right? I mean, he grabs the wraps. And he's like, there's something wrong with this. Why is this hard? And so because of that, they went ahead and they checked, because he was seeing something that was abnormal about it. Like, that doesn't look right. When the commission couldn't see it. He also caught Trinidad. Richardson also caught Trinidad with illegal gloves. The commission didn't catch it. He caught it. So yes, people have gotten into the ring with, and were able to do illegal stuff regardless of who was looking at them, at those gloves. And that's just the reality of the situation. So to make that kind of excuse for it, saying, oh, that couldn't happen, is asinine, because we've seen it happen for decades. Now, I will say this, though. I think this is a situation where Deontay Wilder's team has failed him. Because I'll leave that for another video. But, people you got to still look and see what's going on with this dude. You can't close your eyes to the things that, could have happened just due to the fact that you're talking about a man's life. Forget the boxing thing. You're talking about a dude that has kids, who has a wife or a girl, whatever. I'm going to call him his wife. He has kids that he has to take care of, a whole family. He's a center of a whole circle that he takes care of. and you could have taken that away. You're talking about you could have taken that man. You could have taken that man's life. We're talking about a man's life. You know, and even if you say, even you should at least even have a thing in your head and saying, you know what, that stuff looks suspicious. We need to kind of see what's up with that. Make sure that's cool, because this man does have a history of doing these type of things, and we need to make sure everything's in the up and up, because that's that man's life people are messing with. So for people to just brush their eyes over it, it's crazy. But I guess over the next couple of months, we'll see what's up. And during that third fight, we're going to see what's up. For now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.